Welcome to Scythian Dragon Lords Education channel. This video is going to be about the treasure of Nagyszentmiklós. Now in this video, I'm going to be referencing Klára Friedrich's report from 2015. This study was in her book of interpretations, and it was also called The Attempt to Decipher the Treasure of Nagyszentmiklós. Now, this paper by Klára is originally written in Hungarian, so I used Google Machine Translate to get it transferred over to English and properly, understand some of the research that went into this. Now, a brief history of the treasure. According to popular traditions, the Nagyszentmiklós treasure belonged to King Attila the Hun. They don't know how many centuries the gold vessels have been resting wrapped in clothes underground, but on July 3rd, 1799, the serfs of the landlord Krzysztof Nako Neruvin and his wife Ianka found it while digging in a ditch. Now, initially, there were 23 gold vessels. There was a 24th, but that was a gold bar. There was also talk about a necklace and a cross, which was sold to the Serbian merchants. And these merchants took it to Pest. And in Pest is where it was introduced into the, Hungarians. Now, before they left to Pest, several pieces were given to the merchants in exchange for their silence. Some vessels were damaged. Two of the ears of the jug, the horns of the bull-headed cup were broken off, and a third merchant also let the Hungarians know that they were already on the way. So when all three merchants set off for Pest, the news of the treasure was already preceded them, and they were forced to announce it to Mayor János Boráros. That was the mayor at the time. The monument stands today actually in Boráros Square, which is a beautiful column with a statue of a bull-headed drinker on the top. The merchants, after they got compensated on August 3rd, it says, the 23 pieces were inventoried. The treasure at the town hall, and namely 7 jugs, an oval bowl, 4 round bowls, 2 glasses, 3 bull-headed cups, 2 handed bowls, a drinking horn, a box with glass paste inlay, and 2-footed chalices, as well as gold bars from smelting. The 24th is the gold bar. Now, the weight of the vessels is 10 kilos pure gold, 74 grams, 10 kilos and 74 grams. Due to some of the damage and melted vessels, there was an investigation ordered into the Vin family, where they also admitted to a cross and an earring. An eyewitness spoke of several jars, even larger than the ones previously found. So some of the pieces might have been stolen. So it might have been initially more than 23, 24 pieces with the gold bar. Now, from the treasure of Nagyszentmiklós, we don't have an exact date, but we do know that some of the pieces were created in the 3rd and 4th and 5th century. Some were created in the 7th, 8th century. Total, there were 134 rovage signs, consisted of 24 types of letters. Two were unidentifiable, and this was according to Sándor Ferrari, who is a teacher and researcher of runic writing. Difference in some of it was that he stated that the treasure cannot be considered excessively of certain origins. Specifically, one of the inscriptions was translated with Turkic type of rovage, but most of the lettering, he finds that there were 14 identical with the Etruscan, Pelagician, and the Phoenician runic scripts, and that most of the actual, like the chalice and the bullhead were used for like blood rituals and contracts, and they usually a blood covenant ceremony as what they called it. Now, out of the 14 vessels that had the 134 signs of the runic writing on there, that is where we can actually verify that this treasure actually belonged to the Attila's Hunnic royal family. The reason we know that is because his uncle Ruga is on dish 9, 10, 17, 22, and 23. His father Montagus is on trays 15 and 16. Bolumber is on the 2-ounce pitcher. Semu, which is a Shemini Hun clan, on jug number 5. Attila on the 6-ounce jug. There's Edikon or Edoman on the 6-inch jug. Esla Hun envoy on plate of 10. Oktar on plate of 10. Bella on board 21. Buddha on plate of 21. Alden on plate 21. Dengegus on plate 21, which was another name for Montagus, which was Attila's father. And another one was Edsig, which is Etzigburg, Attila's city, on plate number 21. These were all on runic writing on the Nagyszentmiklós treasure. So this treasure has been hidden in that area of Nagyszentmiklós. At the time, that was part of Nagy Hungary, and later on it became Romania area. But that was definitely the old Hungarian Huns royalic area. And anything besides that, you could tell that's why they call it the treasure of Attila, and that's why I had to make this video, because it's actually linked into the Scythian Dragon Lords, which Attila was a Scythian Hun king. They say he was the 59th Hun king. But he was also much larger than just the Hun king. He was king of kings, which also meant that the 24 Hun tribal alliance was under him, and he was the ruler of them. So he was basically like a lord type, Caesar type, son. They named him the sun god, and that's some of the traditions that go back for thousands, for hundreds of years and thousands of years to the Huns, and the Hungarians have kept this tradition, and that's why this treasure was linked into the Hunnic family, the royal family, which was out of the Carpathian Basin. Now, based on the runic script, the treasure is Hungarian. Is in the Hungarian language. It's related to the Carpathian Basin, and it can be linked to the 5th century Hunnic royal family, of which Attila was also a member. Now, Attila, he inherited his kingdom from Ruga, him and his brother Buddha, and they split. And the story was later. Buddha died. He was taken out by the Romans, where it was said that he was actually taken out by his brother, but that's not true. But the reason the folklore does call this the Attila's treasure, the 2 bowls bearing the runic script Rauz Kinche, the drinking horn, and the 2 goblets were probably made by Attila, and the occasion was very important period in 432, thanks to Ruga, which in the treasure they call Ruaz. Pannonia was returned to Romans to the Huns. Attila's name perhaps appears in word number 6 as well. And the word that they also associated Attila with was Othella. That was another name that was also meant Attila. In certain areas they don't say the A's, the S's. There's just the language barrier. So, Attila, Othala, there are different variations of ways of saying my name, actually. Now, in this paper, Clara did a wonderful job. She actually compiled the information from Antal, Carol Fisher, Dr. Balant Gabor of St. Catalonai, Dr. Dejo, also Barif Tibor. We also shared a couple of videos before with his work called The Early Hungarians. He also has great work on the runic writing. He had 3 separate books on that. He was a historian and university professor. Laszlo Pataki, Dr. Gabor Vekoni, and a couple of other people that she used part in this research paper. And most of the runic writing that you see on there definitely belongs to the Hunnic royal family. They called it the Avar treasures, but some of these runic writings are definitely Attila's uncle Attila and a couple of the family, which you can definitely see. One of the jugs, you will actually see the Turul dynasty. That is the bird Turul. You'll see the woman being brought up. That is Ene, which is considered also Emesh, which was later on, but Emesh was the Parthian princess that married into the Scythian Hungarians married into, and then Ene was Nimrod's wife. And the Turul dynasty with the actual eagle lifting up the woman. That's the dream of Emesh is also interpreted in that jug. But mainly it's for the the woman, which is Ene and Emesh. Now the Magyar Turul symbol that was also used by the Avar Magyars, that was actually passed on from King Attila up to Grand Prince Arpad. You can see that Turul has the 2 little birds, that's Hunor and Magor. The bird usually symbolizes Emesh or Ene, which was either Udek's wife. He was the Scythian Dragon Lord at the time, Supreme Lord they called him. And that symbol has been in the Carpathian Basin for a long time, but it is it's part of the eagle, the double-headed eagle. That's also part of the Nimrod family. The double-headed eagle was a symbol of Ninurta, which was some stated Nimrod's ascension, and it's a very important symbol. And the jug that represents the Turul, which you could see the bird being the woman being lifted up by the bird, being taken to to the spiritual world, and that's what basically it symbolizes. Now, according to another researcher that was mentioned in the paper by the name of Gorgi Maddox, he says that the 14 vessels, 2 of the vessels consisted of runic letters that were converted to Greek. In addition to these, that is, outside of the 14, there's an inscription on one vessel in Greek letters, but not in the Greek language. There are approximately 15 known interpreters of the vessels, but none of them have interpreted every inscription as of today. Now, according to all these researchers mentioned by Clara, including Antal, Carol Fisher, Balant Gabor, they all say that the origin of this treasure is Scythian Hun Avar Magyar continuity. Basically based on the Rovash, the references to Attila's uncle Ruga and his brother Oktar, those pieces that have their names on it were probably, created during their time and most of the treasure was, Hunnic, and these people were more like warlords and lords of their time. But like I said, most of Attila's empire was inherited by Ruga. Ruga was the Hungarian magyar lord of the Hunnic family. And then his brother was Oktar, and then that's a lot of the treasure is based on his names and on the runic writing. Now on bowls 9 and 10, according to Bareth Tibor, who in 1968 looked at the treasure, some of the pieces of the treasure actually belong to Ruga and his brother Oktar. And the way they know this is because on bowls 9 and 10, the Greek inscription is believed to be the full title of King Oktar of the Huns, the country of the fourth Hun king Oktar. By perpetual right, he took it from his friends, Lord of the Pontians, the Austria regions, the Uralians, the Tatars. Based on the inscriptions, Klára believes that 5 of the pieces of the treasure, which have punctured text Ruiz Quince, were made as a gift for the Hunnic King Ruga, Attila's great uncle at the time. Now, based on the runic writing, Klára considers the treasure to be from the 5th century and in the Hunnic language, which the Hungarian language originates from. The continuity is particularly supported by the Sabbatean belt buckle from the Hun period, which in addition to seamless letters similar to those from the Nagyszentmiklós, also bears from the 13th century. And these were definitely of Hun creations. The Hungarian reading and the Hun-Hungarian continuity are supported by the comparisons, which only in Hungarian, Scythian, Hunnic, Avar runic script, runic writing of other peoples are absent, and their number is, definitely looking like it's going to be all Scythian, Hunnic, Avar, Hungarian influence that can only be detected in those writings. The scratched inscriptions were made after Attila's death up until the 11th century by different hands, so their direction of writing varies. The great Hun ruler's treasure was probably divided. The scratches were not made by goldsmith, but by temporary owners, treasurers, couriers, and it says different types of servants. Some Germans may have been among them. And there's different markings of Manzuk on bowls 15 and 16, and on jugs number 3 and 4, a member of the Jula clan left his mark, with ancestors also on donors of bowl 8, and jug 5, the Hun name of Shemini clan has survived. On jug 6, the name Zago, whom we already know from dish, it says dish 6 or dish 8. That they already have on the through the Rovash inscriptions. Now, to summarize up this video, the treasure of Nagyszentmiklós is definitely a Hunnic royal treasure that belonged to Attila and his royal family. Most of the gold pieces can be found in Vienna today. It's in a specific museum. It was transferred there a long time ago, and today it can definitely be viewed in different locations. They usually bring it around different shows and stuff like that, but hopefully they're not using the real pieces and they just use some duplicates, as the one of the Dacian crowns got stolen a couple of weeks ago. We'll make a separate video about that, but the Nagyszentmiklósi treasure of the Huns Definitely had the runic script on there, and the horns, the bowl, they also had the drinking horn. They all had runic script, with names Balbamar, Ruga, Jula, Semui, Shemini, generations. Different Hungarian names. It can only be read in the Hungarian language. So it's definitely a Hungarian Scythian avar, Hungarian continuation. If new interpretations do come out, I'll definitely make a new video of it. But for now, this is pretty much going to be the end. Thank you for viewing. Enjoy.